Hello everybody, welcome to Filmmaking. Today, Bojan Dulabic here. So, how would you like a motion control system for less than $1,000? Stay tuned. Alright, so in this episode I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about the Moza Slypod and the Moza AirCross 2, which is a gimbal, and the Slypod is a slider, and how you can use them together to achieve some really cool shots, and how you can use them together as a motion control system. Now, just some housekeeping items. Gudsen, which is the company that created these products, they have sent me both of these products for free for this review and for other videos. I've already made a review of the Slypod, and I'm going to make a review of the AirCross 2 just by itself coming up, so stay tuned for that. However, they have no input on any of these videos. They don't review them before they're being uploaded, and all the opinions you hear are my own. So, that's it. Let's get started. This is the Moza Slypod motorized slider and the AirCross 2 camera gimbal. The products can be used by themselves to achieve some really interesting shots. However, they can also be used together, not only to achieve some interesting shots, but more importantly, to create a motion control system. Let's take a look how to connect these two together. So first we're going to turn on the Moza Master app, select the Slypod and connect to it. Once you connect it to that one, don't enter it yet. Select the AirCross 2 and then connect to that one. And once you're connected to that one, go back to the Slypod and now hit enter. And now select Creative Video. And I'll select this button up here. Just hit confirm, select the plus button, and I'll select the Moza AirCross. And then hit confirm. That's going to link the two up. Go up here and select track recording for the AirCross, and then go over here. It's going to log into the AirCross 2, and we're going to select the first point. So hit this button here, and now hit the number 1 and actually move your finger, and it's going to move the camera around. So this will be the starting point. So when you're there, go back and now go into the Slypod, and now we're going to select the start and end point. So this will be the start point where we are. Slide the E wherever you want it to go. I'm going to go all the way to the end. It's going to physically move the Slypod, and once we're done here, we're going to go back and adjust the second point for the AirCross 2. When you're done, hit this here and select how much time you want that to take. We're going to go 15 seconds because that's the fastest, and we're going to go setup completed. Now we're going to go back into the AirCross 2, hit this button again to get a second point, select that one and move it again to the end position. So once we have that, we're going to hit this button over here. This is the time it'll take the AirCross to move from point 1 to point 2, so make sure the time matches what you selected for the Slypod. When you're done, confirm and hit setup complete. And then when you're done, hit the start button. Now it's going back to the first position, and then as soon as it's there, it's gonna start recording. Your camera has to be connected to the AirCross 2 in order for the recording to start happening. If it's not connected, if your camera doesn't support that feature, you're gonna have to physically hit the record button, which is not the greatest, so it's best if your camera is supported. This is what it looks like. This image has not been altered. I have not applied any color grading. I have not done any stabilization. This is what it looks like. And when it's done, the camera will stop recording. And using this technique, you can get these types of shots. I filmed this Christmas village that I have set up in my living room. I just went up really close and used basically these same techniques. I was using the slider vertically, I was using it horizontally, basically whatever came to mind as I saw all this, just to get the most creative shots possible. All of these shots are straight from the camera, so I have not altered them. No stabilization has been applied or anything like that. I did do some color grading, but when it comes to stabilization, this is straight from the camera. And as you can see, it's actually pretty good. There are a few shots where there's just a little bit of movement. So what I did, I went into After Effects, I added some effects to this guy. I wanted to really play around with it, and I did stabilize a few of these shots, and this is what the final product looks like. One very interesting thing you can do when you combine the Moza Slypod and the AirCross 2 is what is known as motion control, where basically you shoot the same thing multiple times with the exact same motion, and then you change something in each shot and you put all that together. Let me show you an example. I filmed this 4 different times with the same motion with different objects in them, and then I put them all together and I'm basically fading in and out all the different layers. I'm applying the morph transition so it looks like one of the objects is being morphed into something else while the other stays the same. Here I also have only one car, but I'm duplicating it using different passes that I filmed and sandwiched them together. And then same with this shot, there's only one car here, but it looks like there's multiple cars. And same thing here, all the various objects that appear were shot separately and then everything was sandwiched together. Alright guys, so that's it. As you can see, this is a pretty interesting system, interesting 2 gadgets that combine, well, create some pretty cool things, that's for sure. Now, first of all, when it comes to the quality, I mean, as you saw, it looks good. Some shots may require stabilization, so keep that in mind. Not all shots will work perfectly, but that doesn't really bother me, because in today's world with Premiere Pro, and I'm sure other editing systems, stabilization plugins have gotten to the point where you really can't tell that they're being used. Now, obviously, within reasons. If your footage is incredibly shaky, you know, the best stabilization plugin is not going to do anything. So keep that in mind. So yeah, that's that when it comes to that. My opinion, this system together is pretty cool, man. I mean, you can do so many things. I mean, I only showed you just the tip of the iceberg here. You can do so much more. You can create so many more different steps, right, when it comes to the Slypod and the AirCross 2. And yeah, the sky's the limit, really, which is really interesting. Price-wise, it's also awesome because now I'm using the original Slypod. Gudsen came out with the Slypod E version, which is actually $300 as opposed to $520, I believe, was the original one. So that's going to cost you even less, right? So $300 for the Slypod E, and I believe the AirCross 2, I think right now it's less than $500, I want to say, somewhere around there. So, you know, for definitely less than $1,000, you can have a system that is pretty kick-ass, right? So can't go wrong with that. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind, which I hope will somehow get fixed. Number one, it's not really a negative, but it is something you have to keep in mind, which is focusing. So, depending on how you use the system, if you use it as these 2 gadgets, if you use them just to get shots, not using them as a motion control system, you probably want to get the wireless focus puller that Gudsen is selling. I'll put links in the description, because the only alternative, you know, is basically to use the focus wheel on the actual gimbal if you want to pull focus, right? Now, if you do that while the system is moving, you're just introducing unnecessary shake, and it's not going to look good, right? So I definitely suggest look at the wireless focus puller, and you know, it's basically just wireless. You can stand wherever and you can pull focus, right? So that's something to keep in mind. That is an additional cost, but it's definitely worth it if you are doing shots that require focus, pulling focus, right? All the shots I did, they didn't require, but I did that on purpose because I don't have that thing. So, you know, I had to make sure that all the shots I did, that they weren't out of focus, because yeah, it just wouldn't look good, right? So that's one thing. Now the other thing, which is, well, it's actually part B of the first thing, which is related to focusing, and that is if you are using this thing as a motion control system, focusing is a problem, because even if you have the wireless focus puller, you can't really use it, because the whole point of doing a motion control shots is that everything is the same, right? And if you manually pull focus, you know, even the best focus puller, you can't get it 100% right in every shot. So if you do 5 passes, right, it's going to be slightly off. So when you merge that together, you're going to have problems, right? Now, here's the thing, and I hope they can implement this. Just like you can set the paths for both the Slypod and the AirCross 2, you know, set step 1, step 2, and however many, move here, rotate here, do all that. I don't understand why you wouldn't be able to set the focus, right? So let's say, okay, step 1, focus here, okay, lock that in. Step 2, now focus on this, blah, 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 right? It should be possible, because if your camera, so if you have the focus, the motor attached to the lens, like I have, that's already attached to the AirCross 2. So that's already being controlled, right? So I don't understand why they wouldn't be able to simply make that also programmable, right? So programmable focus is what I'm looking for. And I truly hope that they can implement that with a software update, because as it stands right now, that's really the biggest limitation when it comes to using this as a motion control system, right? You can still do it, but you are limited with focus pulling, right? So that's one thing. Again, I don't see a reason why they couldn't do it. So let's hope that that will happen. And the other thing is bugs. So this linking these two gadgets together is still not 100%. So there are bugs. When I was doing my recording, right, I would set everything up, I would hit the start button, and the Slypod and everything would move to the starting position, and it would start up, everything's good, but it wouldn't record, right? Now my camera is hooked up to the AirCross 2, so it controls the recording, the shutter button basically. It didn't always work, so sometimes I had to do it the second time, and there were 1 or 2 times when I had to do it a third time, right? It was rare, but there were quite a few times when I had to do it the second time, right? So basically my first take was wasted. Now that can be a pain, right? If you are on a tight schedule and you don't have a lot of time to get things done, that can be a problem, right? So they have already released a software update. So if you get these products, make sure you update to the latest versions, right? So they have already fixed a lot of those bugs, but there's still some left. And I really hope that they can fix those. Again, I don't see a reason why not, because this is not a hardware issue. This to me seems like a simple software issue, right? The communication between, I don't know, the camera and the app, I guess, you know, whatever it is. So I truly hope they can fix that. It's not a deal breaker in the sense it works. Obviously, I showed you it works, but it can be a pain, right? So something to keep in mind, right? Other than that, when it comes to the motion control feature, is it as good as a motion control system that's, I don't know, $10, $20 plus $1,000? No, it's not perfect. It can be slightly off sometimes. So I had a couple of things that didn't work out, right? And I just scrapped them because I'm like, yeah, okay, this isn't working out. So not everything's gonna work, right? But quite a few things will. And again, what I said, for the money, this is, to my knowledge, at least, this is still the best motion control system out there for way less than $1,000, which is excellent. And especially if they can fix the bugs and if they can give us programmable focus, man, this thing is going to be off the chart for sure. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Links to everything you saw here will be in the description. They are affiliate links, so it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it definitely helps me with the channel so I can make some money, buy some more stuff, review it, and show it to you lovely folks. All that good stuff. So stay tuned for more. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon to be notified of future videos and all that good stuff. Tell your friends, and stay tuned for more. Thanks.